Welcome everyone to Friday night tie-ins. Tonight we're going to do a Midge Emerger. This is tied on, I'll put this in front of the camera so hopefully you can see it. It's an odd size, it's a Tiemco, but it's listed as a size 13, which is probably typical of about our 14s. But it's a very good shape for an emerger. Where you can see the bend, it's quite a significant bend with just a very short shank. So it sits, I'll show you the fly. It's meant to sit like that. So that little crystal flash actually sits in the meniscus of the water, and the CDC wing stands nearly vertical, and the hook hangs beneath the surface and in a roughly vertical position. So that's what we're going to try and tie.
It's the fly.
So I'm just using, this is roughly 14 hook. I'm using 6/0, just uni thread. The original pattern is tied with the same sort of thread, but also they use the thread as the rib. When I put this on T-Map a couple of weeks ago, if you look very carefully, you could see the rib in the thread, but I think tonight you wouldn't be able to see it. So I'm going to put on just a silver small ribbing and just tie it all on together, well down into the hook. The body of this fly is meant to be very thin. And it doesn't have, the way it was originally tied, it doesn't have any shape to the, it's not a taper at all.
I don't think you got quite enough wire there, mate.
It was, well, I wasn't sure how many I tied. I tend to break off more than I need.
I'm in motion still, yeah.
God, I'm a picky bugger.
Yeah. I should watch your video. So can you see the ribbing?
Yes.
Yep. The next thing is to tie in the wing, and that is made up of, for 14, you probably need 3 CDC feathers. You can see that. Those sort of ones, and not too pointed. You need ones that have sort of got a flat top on them. And I tend to tie these in one at a time. If you look on the internet, you might see people tie them, 3 of them in at once, but I tend to tie them in singly and put a couple of turns in front. And tie it off, but cut off at an angle, follow the shape of the hook. So that's number 2. measure them roughly out, and then you can pull them together. I don't need to pull them together. I've worked it out. They're the same size, so. I think one of the more difficult things with this type of fly is to allow some room in the behind the hook, so that you can move, put a little bit of dubbing there, but also to tie off behind the eye. So, because I think that it's very easy to crowd the eye. So the next part, we put on a small amount of dubbing. This is a brown dry fly dubbing. We don't want this to get waterlogged because it'll sink. So that's just a small amount of dubbing behind the hackle. And can't pick this up. And there's a little bit of crystal flash, and that's sort of the horizontal wing. So these need to, I don't know whether you can see this. So there's one either side of the body, and they're trimmed to the parallel to the vertical bend in the hook. So we just tie them off, and we put a little bit of dubbing, more dubbing. And just a very small amount in the front. Just to hold the CDC wing up. And then do a wet finish. That's done. So that's a little CDC emerger. So,
Tony, what's the body made of? Like, is it artificial or synthetic or natural fiber dubbing?
the body is just the thread.
The thread, but what you put around, like that brown dub, is that a synthetic, or is that a fine dubbing, or is it?
No, it's just a synthetic, fine and dry.
All right, so it's a dry fiber. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know whether you can see that.
Yeah, can you, man? All right. Cool.
Spirit River, fine and dry. That's all it is. It doesn't need any sparkling. You already got, you don't want to put sparkle there, I don't think, because the crystal flash, when it sits in the water, that sparkles in the meniscus. I'll try and show you. I don't know whether this is going to work, but I have, I don't know whether you can see this. You see this little tub?
Yeah.
I put all my flies in this. It's got a mirror in it. I don't know whether you can see that. But I put all my flies in there after I've tied them. just to see what they do. And I'll drop him in. Now, can you
Just
see the
hold
fly?
it up a little bit higher, Tony, if you can.
Yeah.
Higher, just so they can see it from the bottom. We can't see the bottom.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
You can see the horizontal wing. Can
Come,
you or not?
come over to your left or put the fly closer to the edge.
Yeah. Bring the fly back to the corner. Oh, that's yeah.
You see the fly is largely hanging vertically on the shank of the hook, and those two little crystal flashes are sitting horizontally in the surface film.
Yeah, we
So
can't
they'll
see.
look
Again, we can't.
Mine has still haven't finished.
No, you've got none.
We can't see it.
Yeah.
Can't you?
No.
No.
but they'll look like the shuck.
All right. Okay.
And so that's just a box with a plane of glass in it that's got silicone in it, is it?
Hello.
Yeah. See, yeah, it's just I don't know what was in it, but and I just had a bit of glass cut and set at an angle so you can see what the fly looks like from underneath.
All right, it's a cool idea.
Yeah, and see how it floats or it sinks, you know, how quickly it sinks.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Tony, you mentioned the ribbing, the silver ribbing so we could see it. What do you usually use as the ribbing?
Well, I do some with silver and gold, but that particular fly, that was it was tied with just the thread ribbing, and so I use many different sorts of materials.
Not going to be a doctor.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll show you a little trick I just learnt recently. This is the same hook. And this material, I bought it from Spotlight. It's called woolly nylon.
What's it called, Tony?
Woolly nylon.
Oh, thanks, mate.
And I'll just show you. If you can you see how woolly it is?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you pull it tight and it goes like a thread. And you can have it, see how it, near the hook, it's quite thick,
Mm-hmm.
like that's flat. So you can do all sorts of things with it. I'll show you something. And this is a way to create bodies, if you like, you know, use buzzers and these sorts of flies, the same as the one I just tied in some ways. But particularly if you don't want to have every coloured
Right, cool.
Yeah.
Nice little trick.
can you see that?
Yep.
It's
Certainly can.
Yeah, that's good.
it's a white thread base with a waterproof texture used to form the ribbing. Now that can make any sorts of flies. If you wanted to change that again, you just colour the texture again, and all of a sudden I've got a black head.
Oh, cool.
That's clever.
So all you used is a texture and this woolly nylon. It's
What
it's,
size spool does it come in, Tony?
500 meters.
Oh, wow.
And so you'll be cutting 50-metre lengths off for all the members, right?
Well, yeah, I haven't got any spare spools, so anyone wants, I have done one.
I've got
which
some.
is the one I've just used. I had to use, I used a battery drill on slow speed with a spindle in the chuck and just did it slowly to wind it on.
Okay.
But if anyone wants some, when we get back on deck, I can, if you provide the spools, well, I'll give you 30 or 50 meters of that stuff. But it's very versatile. And I saw a demonstration of this, and I thought, what a cool trick. I mean, I've tied that very thin. You could thicken it up to make a decent body, but you can color it in all sorts of ways and have a shell back and then put resin on the just on the back, and it looks like a little green caddis pattern.
Tony, just a quick question.
Yep.
With that thread, and I'm looking at a midgy type thing here. If you left a little tuft of it coming out the head or at the tail, and then trimmed it off and left, an 1/8 of an inch or so, do they look like little breather, things?
Yeah, it's not quite as successful as I thought it'd be. I'd probably
Like Antron yarn.
Yeah, I know what
Antron
you
yarn,
mean.
you know what I mean?
And I
Yeah.
have, but the tuft wasn't big enough.
Okay.
Yeah, I doubled it over 3 times, I think, and
And it still wasn't fluffy
no,
enough.
it was.
Okay.
You need that like the parapost type material, something
Yeah.
with a bit more substantial.
Okay.
But maybe if you did it, 6 times over, it might be fine.
Does that thread get waterlogged or does it repel water?
Sorry?
Does the thread repel water or does it sort of absorb it?
No, it will absorb some water.
It's nylon, though. It shouldn't be so bad.
Yeah, it's
No, it wouldn't be
impressive.
too bad.
Looks good.
What about
Just looked up
waxing
a
it?
mob called Sewing Gem, 1,500 meters of it, $6.50.
Tony, can you say again, please, where you got it from and what it's called?
Yes, I got it from Spotlight.
Yep.
And it's called Woody Nylon. It's Woolly, WOOLY, nylon.
Right,
1,500 meter spool, and it's just white.
right. Beauty, thank you.
You can get it at Fly Fisher for $500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While I was there this day, I came across Carmel was over there, and I thought I'd just wander around. I mean, they've got so much stuff, but these little things, this is 50-meter spools, or I think they're 50. But this is they're a synthetic. This is a polymer, polyester. They're 50-meter. I mean, that's a great where am I? Great rainbow.
Is that a
colour.
Gouda rod
Can you
thread?
see
Is it?
that? Sorry.
Is it a Gouda rod thread?
Yeah.
Well, I've just looked in Spotlight, and sorry, I don't want to steal your thing. There's 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 colours in that. $8.50 for 1,500 meters in Spotlight.
Yeah. Well, they're the colours I bought recently.
Yeah.
They're
Great.
quite cheap. They have everything, like in those sorts of things.
I bought that one there for the gotchas from the US. It was $30.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
it gives you an idea, But they're great.
they see fly fishermen coming, don't they?
Oh, they do line
Yeah,
you
that's
up,
right. Those lakes, and we're talking about the Emerger. You can fish it on both lakes and rivers,
All right.
and in a bigger size, like a 14, you could put just a very light fly off the back of it if you wanted to, an unweighted nymph.
All
And
right.
this would still float.
So, yeah.
I
So that
wouldn't
would-
put on a tungsten beaded nymph
No.
though.
So that'd be like a long line in Newlyn or Yarmbat or something like that for emerging fish.
Yeah,
If you wanted to make it float a bit more, you could bind it as the ribbing with peacock, the center of the peacock, what are they, the rib of the peacock.
you could, yeah.
Mm.
You can put anything on the ribbing. You can use the peacock quill.
Quill, that's what I meant to say, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think the trick with that is though you have to wet it because it splits and then let it dry once you put it on.
but with the quill, I tend to coat it with some resin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So TMAP, I think Mary Ann asked a question about
Oh, yeah,
the
good.
tool I mentioned, and this goes back to Paul's discussion and fly tying about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
That's just,
And this is the tool that I use for making CDC into a wing. And just find a feather big enough.
Yeah, that's
Can you
it.
see
David.
that?
Yep.
And so you just trim off the stem, and then you use another tool, which is this one. There are a number of these sorts of things around, and this is a stone flow one. And this, it's got a triangle where you form that with the thread, and you pull down on it, and it goes, it's spring loaded, and it goes back to a cord, and you just spin it up. It spins itself. It's on the ball bearing, so you can see that.
Yeah.
I mean, in your method, Tony, you don't split the thread, you actually double the thread to create an environment for the feather to go in. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to split the thread. I mean, if you've got poor eyesight, splitting the thread can be a real pain in the ass. Whereas this tool, you don't need to do that. You form the triangle by those 2 little bends, and you just pull down on it, and they close.
Yep.
So you got to keep tension on it, and you just spin it like that, and it just works. It's very clever. There's a few things, a few tools out like this. Barney's got a different one similar to this.
He does. He just has to find it, man. Yeah, he's got one somewhere.
The double thickness thread would actually add a certain additional size to the body, you would think, though, not excessively, but it would, wouldn't it?
Well, it's a dry fly. You're probably using 8 or maybe 12 thread anyway, you know.
Yes, yeah.
So I don't think it's a big issue, but you get such a great fly. That's what I think. I'll just show you one here. Can you see that one?
Yep, we can see it.
That's got a,
Only hold
it's
it
got
hold it right beside the fly and the vice.
okay.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. The it's got a CDC wing, but then it's got a hackle of CDC,
Yeah.
and that's done with that tool. I haven't fished with this before. This has been a COVID fly, so
That's the
but
one.
should fish beautifully. So, and
I
that's
reckon there's going to be a lot of COVID flies out there.
yeah.
Sure.
Mm.
Boxes of
So-
COVID flies.
Great for innovation then.
Yeah.
So that's yeah, a COVID fly,
I invented a peacock nymph today.
peacock
Right.
nymph.
Mm.